Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the vlog. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who watched our previous vlog, who took their time to share. We are truly grateful. You don't know how much this means to me. I just want to say that I'm truly grateful. So on to the topic of today. Today we are going to be talking about life in Canada as an African woman. We are talking about the opportunities of living in Canada as an African woman and the challenges of living in Canada as an African woman. So last week we did a survey. We put out the survey for African women to send to us their challenges and the opportunities they've benefited living in Canada as an African woman, and we got some interesting responses which I can't wait to share with you guys. So our very first respondent is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is from Nigeria, and this is what she had to say. Living in Canada as an African woman, I have to work twice as hard to get half of what they get. Secondly, I found the dating scene very different. Back home in Nigeria, there was no way a girl would walk down the street and will not be stopped by at least 2 or 3 guys, no matter how she looked. But here in Canada, no one stops you. You can walk down the street looking so beautiful and nobody is going to stop you. And if a white man is interested in you, he will just keep staring at you for as long as it takes. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 months or 3 months or it's 6 months. And you, the woman, will have to make the move up to him and kind of lead him on so that he can voice his intentions to you. I found this quite strange because back home in Nigeria, there was no way I could walk down the street in a day and I don't have 2 or 3 guys stopping me to ask for my number. Our African men are very direct and straight to the point. Thirdly, I had to learn very quickly how to watch how I talk. Back home, you can say whatever to whoever at any time. I could meet my friend that I haven't seen for a long time and say, "Oh my God, Chioma, you've put on so much weight. Chioma, you are so fat." But don't dare tell somebody here that they are fat. They are going to be like, "What did you just say?" Like, it comes across as an insult. And so I had to learn really fast that I have to really watch what I say. Now, the advantage I have living in Canada as an African woman is the fact that I have the freedom to be whoever I want to be, and I can show off my wealth and affluence without feeling like my success will be intimidating to a man. Back home in Nigeria, I had a friend who had a well-paid job, who made so much money that she wanted to buy her own house and get a very good car for herself, and her father told her no. And her father said the reason why you shouldn't get all of those things is because men who come to seek for your hand in marriage, they are going to be intimidated by your success. But in Canada, I can drive whichever car I want to drive. I can live in any house that I can afford without any fear of feeling like men are going to shy away from me because they're being intimidated by my success. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your contribution. That was quite insightful. The next person who responded to our survey is Geraldine from Cameroon. Geraldine said that being in Canada gave me the chance to get into the medical school. Back home, I tried several times to get into the medical school, but I wasn't able to because they just made the entrance so privileged that the opportunity was given only to some people who belong to a certain social class, before the second chance is given to people who can actually study hard and pass the exams. But when I got to Canada, I took my exams and I had the chance to get into medical school. This has been a dream come true for me, and I'm really happy and grateful that I moved to Canada as an African woman. The challenge for me though has been the fact that there is a cultural shock. The culture is quite different. An example is somebody asked me to go for coffee and I went with them to get the coffee. And when we got to the point of payment, they were like, pay for your coffee. And then I was like, but hey, you invited me. You know, back home, if someone invites you out for dinner, the person pays for your meal. But right here, if somebody invites you out for dinner, you go with your money. That was something different in our culture socially that I had to take time to adapt to, and I had to learn really fast. The next person who responded to our survey is Belinda from South Sudan. Belinda said, to be honest, I haven't had any challenge living in Canada as an African woman. I can be whoever and whatever I want to be. My voice can be heard when I am willing to speak. Back home, women are placed on the lower level of the hierarchy, but in Canada, we are treated as queens and given first place without any discrimination if we are African or Asian or Japanese. And this is something that I really enjoy. Also, my personal life and professional life has seen tremendous growth as an African woman living in Canada. The next person who responded to our survey is Leanne from Kenya. Leanne said, living in Canada as an African lady has not been the easiest of things compared to the United States where I first migrated to. But compared to back home, the opportunities are enormous. I can be whatever I want to be, and there is no limit to my financial independence. I can achieve so much financially that I'll see no need for a man. But of course, having a man with so much money is always a great thing. That was quite funny, Leanne, but I'm going to agree with you. So the next person who responded to our survey is Felicita from Nigeria. Now, Felicita says, being a woman who works with immigrant women, I would say that women from Africa, the greatest challenge they face is having to break out from the stereotype. Back home, we are trained to have our voice second, to reserve our opinion and give the upper hand to the man, to be humble, and to always just listen and do what we are told to do. Back here in Canada, you have to be assertive to get what you want. You have to be a go-getter. You have to go out there and get what you want. And you have to prove yourself. Given the fact that you're an African woman, most times you have to work twice as hard to get half of what they get. But our culture in Africa has taught us to be laid back, to reserve our opinion and give the man a first place. So most often in our society, in our organization, we spend time teaching African women to break out of this stereotype, because that mindset is not going to give them so much success here in Canada. The next person who responded to our survey is Gloria from Nigeria. Gloria said, I've had limitless opportunities in my education and career in Canada. But I must confess that the daycare is so expensive. And you know, the kids must be well taken care of. Now, guys, you know why when we have babies here in Canada, we have to import our parents from Africa to come stay with us for 1 whole year. Because paying for that daycare, it's so expensive. You don't even want to think about it. The next person who responded to our survey is Lucy from Ghana. Lucy said that the advantage to me living in Canada as an African woman who has gone through a divorce has been so helpful. She said that if I was in Ghana and I went through the unfortunate divorce I went through, I should have had a very tough time, because I would have had to pick my life back from scratch with all the wasted years and find something that will put food on the table for me and my kids. But the economy, the society in Canada provides for spousal support. The spousal support helped me get on with my life after the divorce. Listen, guys, regardless of the situation, going through a divorce is a very hard thing. I know that in Africa, divorce is something that is not encouraged. But how realistic are we going to be if we plan our life based on perfect situations. Sometimes the worst happens. What if things get that bad that divorce, unfortunately, happens to be the way out? Women in Africa suffer a lot when this happens. In Africa, a woman spends all her time taking care of her family. Imagine a woman is married to her husband, she has 3 kids. Most times some women have to give up their careers to bring up their kids. And in doing that, indirectly, they equally give up their careers to support their men succeed in their own careers. Women work so hard to keep the home together and to keep their marriages together. Now, a divorce happens. And then that woman walks away from that marriage with her kids and nothing. Most times in Africa, when a woman goes through a divorce, she goes back to her parents' house with her kids. You go to the villages, you go to the suburb areas, you have these women, they're trying to do petty trade or going to the farm to put food on the table for them and their kids. And this isn't really fair. In this part of the world, when a woman goes through that, the law provides that her husband pays her spousal support. This is a fair thing to do because she sacrificed her life to build that home and to indirectly build the man's career. So it's only fair that the woman gets some support to get through life after the divorce. Regardless of the situation, divorce is hard. Whether you get support or you don't get support, it is hard. The emotional breakdown can destroy you. But if you get a financial support to help you start life after divorce, it makes a great difference. That, oh my God, that to me, I see this as an advantage. I know a lot of African men will not like this because they don't like to pay the spousal support. But I'll encourage a lot of African men to look at this equally from the part of the woman and all the stress she has to go through having to start life from scratch after a divorce. It is not really an easy thing in Africa. I would like to encourage African girls to believe in themselves, to be go-getters, to go for what they want. In the corporate world here, or in any job that you have to do, most times as immigrants, as African women, we have to prove ourselves before we can be dedicated with tasks. We have to prove ourselves before our employers can trust us. Sometimes you really have to prove yourself 10 times than anybody else to be given the job. Yes, that is true. Regardless of that, when you get that job, if you're confident in yourself and in your ability, there is going to be no limit for you. I want to encourage African girls to be confident, to be bold, to believe in themselves, to know that they have everything. We have it all. We have the beauty, we have the brains, we have the African intelligence, and there is no limit to what we can achieve. Despite the fact that we have some setbacks here and there is no limit to what we can achieve. Guys, I can't really go through all the responses we receive from the survey because we are trying to keep our videos really short. But I'm very sure that we are going to be shooting a part 2 of this video anytime soon. If you want your point to be voiced out, if you want your voice to be heard, you can reach us on our email. You can leave a comment on this video. You can send us a message on Facebook at Manka Nadine. You can send a message on Instagram at Manka Nadine. The points are so many and it's a conversation that we can go on with it. If you really like your point to be heard, drop us a message and we're going to talk about it on our next vlog. Until then, ciao.